Welcome back to the Upper Echelon Podcast, where we keep it real and we keep it jiggy over here. Because why? Because we ain't never ever scared. Hit that like button on your way in. Make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. Hit that notification bell so that you can be notified of every time that I live stream in the future. Also, if you would like to support my channel monetarily, my Cash App is pinned at the bottom of the screen, $UPP 1987. If you would like to support my channel by sending a super chat or a super sticker, I do have a goal this morning of 5 super chats or super stickers, and you can see that goal button at the bottom. Thank you, Lakey, for helping me reach my goal. I am 4 away now, you guys. So it's been so much going on in the media, just all over the place. You guys know that I did a live last night about DDG and Halle with the restraining order that she just recently got against him. But I really have to touch on this P. Diddy trial because it's so interesting. I've been following it. Yesterday, opening statements occurred, and Cassie was the star witness. Everybody, I think, knew that Cassie was going to be the star witness, and we're going to get into what exactly happened. Now, I'm going to be doing a series on my channel called P. Diddy Burden of Proof. Now, this is episode 1. The reason that I named it Burden of Proof is because I want to go over the charges that P. Diddy has. And you guys know, in order to be convicted of something, there has to be evidence of guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. This series that I'm going to be doing has nothing to do with defending abuse, defending SA, or anything of that matter. It is simply covering the facts and determining whether or not there is enough evidence or proof as the trial continues to convict him of what he's been charged with. But before we do that, we're going to go over exactly what he's been charged with. And we're going to talk about what the industry and the people in the industry have to say about this case. What's going on, Melissa Santana? Hey, Latae, Lakey, hi again. Hey, Miss Lady. Hey, Sharon, Keita. Serenity Speaks, Robin Lots, Treasure Life, You Change Me, Robin's World, Sugar Pop. Who else is here? Hey, Lasandra. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. CS, good morning. Hey, Karen Young. That one. Lyro. Rosalind. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me this early in the morning. So, you guys, the first thing that I want to do before I get into anything else is I think that it's important to discuss what exactly what P. Diddy is being charged with, because that's very, very important. Due to what is being presented as far as the evidence of the case, I think that what's going to happen, and I think that this is the prosecution's goal, is to get people confused or to forget what this trial is about. Now, this is my observation. This trial is not about domestic violence, although we can all admit that P. Diddy is a monster and he's not a good man. However, not being a good man or being a bad man is not necessarily against the law and is not necessarily illegal. Now, he's not being charged with domestic violence. He is being charged with these things that I'm getting ready to read off to you right now. Hey, Letitia, welcome. Thank you so much, Real Talk with Pratt. I appreciate that super chat. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so let's read off his charges, you guys. Now, pay attention. Let me see if I can enlarge this so we can see the article together. Hold on. Let's see. Can I do it this way? There we go. Put myself at the bottom there. Okay. So now we're going to follow this thing. The intellectuals that are following my channel, you know how we do over here. We put personal feelings to the side. We put whether or not we're a fan of someone to the side. We put our own traumas to the side, and we strictly cover the facts. It's okay to throw your opinion in there, but when we're talking about a conviction, we have to make sure that we cover the facts, right? So let's get into the facts. And these are the facts. The trial of American music mogul Sean P. Diddy Combs, who is accused of running a sprawling sex trafficking operation, has heard opening statements. The 55-year-old was arrested last September and faces charges including, listen to this, y'all, his charges include racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. he could be sentenced to life in prison if he is convicted of those charges. As you guys see, we do not see any charges of domestic violence listed. Now, it goes on to say Mr. Combs has pleaded not guilty and denied all allegations against him. Dozens of prospective jurors were screened before being wilted down to 12 and 6 alternates. Also, before I go on with the article, it's very important when thinking about jurors. So when the jury selection is happening, it's very crucial to the prosecution and to the defense to make sure that they pick the right people to be jurors on this trial. From what I read, all of the jurors on the trial are of an older demographic. None of them are like in their 30s or anything like that, or younger. And I think that's because older people may be less of a fan of P. Diddy. You don't want to get a group of 12 jurors that are around my age that grew up listening to P. Diddy that may be biased because they're fans of his, because they say that juries are not supposed to be biased, but let's be for real, y'all. They are. They just are. And that's why jury selection is important. Okay. It says here, the first week of testimony will include 2 witnesses who are expected to speak briefly, prosecutor said, followed by a third witness who will see more time on the stand. So we're not going to jump to anything too quick, but from what I've seen so far, it appears to me that there's a burden of evidence, okay? It goes on to say Mr. Combs also faces dozens of civil lawsuits from individuals who accuse him of using his power to drug, assault, RAPE, intimidate, and silence people. He has said the individual lawsuits are attempts for a quick payday. Okay, so I want you guys to see something. Now, this is what Boosie, y'all know Lil Boosie, right? Now, I saw a post from him on X, previously known as Twitter, and I feel like what he said, hold on one second. I feel like what he said can possibly rub people the wrong way. However, I gotta say that to a certain extent, I agree to a certain extent. Now, let's see. So, Boosie says, if anything, this should be a domestic abuse case, not a sex trafficking case. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Not a sex trafficking case. She enjoyed the wild sex parties in and the extravagant gifts on the back end. All of these years of sex parties, and you mean to tell me she didn't enjoy it? I'm convinced she enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure she came during those freak offs. It was a lifestyle. This was consensual. She was his girlfriend. Trying to give someone life in prison for this is BS. Now, I agree to what he's saying to a certain extent. The part that I don't agree with it is that she enjoyed it. I don't know that she enjoyed it. That's an opinion. It could be possible that she did the things that she said that she did to please P. Diddy. And some of the things that she said that she had to do were, I mean, we'll get into that later, because some of that stuff, you don't get charged because you freaky. Oh, you see what I'm saying? But some of the stuff that she said that P. Diddy was doing was so disturbing and disgusting, I could barely listen to it. And then I'm not understanding why. I understand his children are coming to court to support him. However, some of the things that are going to be said on the stand are so disturbing. I know he don't want his sons and his daughters to hear that stuff. I mean, but we'll get into that later. So eventually, actually, when Cassie took, actually a male escort also testified. And when he started getting into what P. Diddy had him doing, according to him, his daughters had to leave the room. So it's pretty explicit. So I just don't agree with his daughters being there. I feel like they could support in other ways. Hey, Danny. Tony said, I never really cared for P. Diddy. The real question is what happened to Kim Porter. I don't even know if we'll ever find out what happened to Kim Porter. Good morning, Upper. Hey, Teresa. I feel like I missed somebody. Hey, Rebecca Cry. Okay, so let's get into this news footage, y'all. Now, I agree with Boozy to a certain extent. This is not a case about DV. This case is about this. He is being charged with racketeering, S trafficking. That's what he is being charged with. SEX trafficking. He's not being charged with domestic violence. Now, if you guys remember, there was a civil lawsuit against P. Diddy. Cassie sued P. Diddy civilly, and they ended up settling for a certain amount of money. So hold on. I know this girl. Um, she ended up they ended up settling for a certain amount of money. So the the fact that she's in court as a star witness, um and they're using her testimony of domestic violence and somehow turning that into almost like she was being trapped and held against her will to do these things. Is it possible? It's possible. But the like I said, the reason why I named this live burden of proof is it doesn't matter when it comes to court whether or not something is possible. The purpose, the point is, can you prove it? Can it be proven that that these people were forced to participate in these freak offs? Can it be proven that these people were forced and had these drugs shoved down their throats? Can that stuff be proven? Whether or not they're saying it, whether or not it's on video that he beat up Cassie and he's a bad man, is not what he's on trial for. So they have to stick with the facts. And I feel like it was kind of, I'm sure that they went back and forth about letting Cassie speak. I mean, testify, because, or even bringing up the domestic violence situation. But I think what they're trying to show, um, sorry, I don't want to miss anybody coming in. I think what they're trying to show is that P. Diddy used violence against Cassie. He was violent with her. And due to the fact that he was so violent against her, and she's reporting that she was basically physically abused by him, it could be possible that she was so intimidated that she would do whatever he told her to do. Now, I believe Cassie. I believe that she was afraid of him. I believe that she did do things that he told her to do because she was afraid of him. I believe that he did use intimidation to get her to do things that she did not want to do. I believe that he used his money, his power, and his influence to get a lot of people to do things that they didn't want to do to satisfy his own freaky needs. I do believe that. But what I believe doesn't matter. It's what can be proven, right? So if y'all remember, when P. Diddy first started getting in trouble, he has three homes. He has one, I believe, in Miami. He has a home in New York, and I think he had a home in California. All of those homes were raided. They they found a bunch of, according to reports, baby oil, lubricants, video footage, ammunition, weapons. They took all of this stuff when they raided his home. So I'm interested in seeing what's in the video evidence that was obtained during those raids, because that could be a part of the case. Could be possible that some of that stuff is going to be presented during the trial. Were there any underage people that partook in those activities? I'm not sure. Brandy says she was young and smitten, charmed, and I would say groomed, in my opinion. He provided a lifestyle and was famous and powerful. He had the upper hand in every aspect. I totally agree with that. I do think that he had the upper hand in every aspect. I do believe that he used his power and influence to manipulate her and to get her to do what it is that he wanted. I believe that he controlled her. I believe that he's a bad man. I believe that he's a monster. But let's see what they can prove is the point. Let's look at this footage real quick. Hold on one second. Let me pull it up. Okay.
We're going begin tonight with the trial of Sean Combs. A jury of 12 seated this afternoon. Opening statements were brief before the first witness was called.
A whirlwind day in Lower Manhattan. We have multiple reports outside the courthouse tonight, beginning with Eyewitness News anchor Mike Marza. Mike?
Sandra and Sade, defense attorneys right now are cross-examining a male escort who says that he was paid to have sex with Sean Diddy Combs' then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in graphic detail. We'll describe a little bit about what has been playing out in just a moment. But to set the scene on what is happening here on day one of the Sean Diddy Combs trial. People from all over the world, of course, interested in this case, and that is reflected by so many cameras. Dozens and dozens of reporters have descended upon 500 Pearl Street to cover the happenings. This, again, day one, and one of the most dramatic points was this infamous video from 2016. It was a hotel surveillance video that captured the assault of Cassie Ventura. Diddy later apologized, and today we heard from the LAPD officer who came upon the pair in the hotel in LA after Diddy assaulted Ventura. I mentioned the graphic detail of the testimony that has been happening, particularly with the second witness, Eyewitness News reporter Kimberly Richardson.
Now, I'm going to say this. I feel like if P. Diddy is found guilty, which I don't know. But if he's found guilty, I wouldn't feel any ways about it. I believe he probably should spend, I think he should go to prison, even if it's not for sex trafficking. I just don't like him because of that video, to be honest with you. And I think that it's very strategic that they're playing that video because honestly, I mean, they got to be really, really creative to try to tie that video into what he's being charged with. So the only thing that I can think of is that they're using that video to say, look at the power and control that he had over her. Look at her. So look at what he's doing to her. So when she gets on the stand and says that she was forced to do these things, we are more likely to believe it because we see this video of him assaulting her in that hotel. So that's the only reason that I could really come up with as to why they would be playing that video. Because again, this case has nothing to do with domestic violence. This case is about racketeering, sex trafficking. We really have to kind of keep it on what it's about. But let's continue the video. He settled with Cassie. Exactly. So he was sued civilly. Now, let me know, because this is something I might have to Google it because I don't know. Can you be sued civilly for something by someone and then also be sued criminally? Because I know that normally what happens oftentimes is when somebody sues you criminally for something and you're found innocent and you're found not guilty, they can still then turn around and take you to civil court and sue you civilly. I believe that's what happened with Sandra Bland. Y'all remember Sandra Bland? Her family tried to get a criminal suit against that jail, and I don't think that they found anyone guilty of anything, and they couldn't prove anything. So then Sandra Bland's family turned around and sued them civilly, and they won millions of dollars in that civil suit. So, but I don't know that as far as, can you win against someone in a civil lawsuit? Well, technically, I wouldn't say that she won against him because they never went to court. They settled. She threatened to take him to civil court, said that she would sue him civilly, but they were able to settle outside of court. And I can't, I'm amped to believe that the reason that happened is because P. Diddy didn't want that video to come out. Because before the video came out, he had already settled with Cassie. So he literally settled with her because he didn't want any of the information getting out. And then after he settled with her, the video still came out. But that's a question that I want to know. Can you sue someone, settle, get paid, and then turn around and assist with a criminal? I guess so. I guess if you're not suing them criminally, there's nothing wrong with you being a star witness. But I'm just like, damn. You know what I mean? Like, Brandy said she said she didn't want him to leave her and find someone else, according to her testimony. She went along with it up until 2018 Grape, which might come out today. He was found not guilty criminally, but found responsible in civil court. Karen said, thus far, the only thing the prosecution has shown is that he's a monster. They got to have more up their sleeve. And you know what? I don't know. Let me say this, y'all. I'm gonna continue the video, but let me say this. So I was wondering, because normally when you have a star witness or when you have like a bombshell in the chamber, right? You're as an attorney, as a legal team, you're gonna drop that at the end, right? So the prosecution is bringing Cassie in extremely early, and that's kind of weird to me. It could be several reasons. One of the reasons could be because Cassie is pregnant, because I think she's like what 7, 8 months pregnant or something like that. She is very far along, and they might want to get her in there in a hurry before she has the baby or before she has any complications. I don't know if she lives in New York. I know this trial is taking place in the Southern District of New York. I don't think she lives in New York. Maybe because at a certain point, pregnant people can't fly, they can't travel, whatever. So maybe that could be the reason why they're calling her so early. What's going on, Ma Deuce? That could be the reason. But then I was thinking about it and I said it could also be because they ain't got nothing else. They don't have anything else. I don't know. I mean, it just, like I said, I guess we'll see. I thought that was a bit odd. I did not expect Cassie to be the first, witness in the opening statements. I didn't expect that at all.
That has been following along. Kim, I mean, so much of this we can't even describe to an evening audience here, but it's painting a picture, at least from the prosecution, of what Sean Diddy Combs was doing outside of the cameras and the stage.
Exactly. The first two witnesses for the prosecutions gave a window into Sean Combs and how he allegedly lived his life behind closed doors. Daniel Phillip, that escort, says he showed up to a swanky hotel in Manhattan where he thought he was doing a striptease for a bachelorette party. He testified instead. Cassie Ventura opened the door and he saw a man sitting on the bed that he later found out with Combs. He spotted baby oil and lubricant. He told jurors,
what? I will never look at baby oil again. I will never look at baby oil the same again, ever. Dreamy Girl said, yes, you can sue civil even after a criminal settlement. Okay. Wow. One of the main witnesses is missing all of a sudden. I didn't either. I guess they're setting the stage. Right. I just didn't. That was totally unexpected to Cassie. They would get her in and get her out like that. So, like I said, I'll never look at baby oil the same again. This is like the baby oil. This is baby oil gate. There's even a particular. There was a time, a statement that Cassie made when she was talking about like the different things that she experienced with P. Diddy, and she said there was a time where he literally filled up a blow up swimming pool. Like one of those kiddie pools. He blew it up and filled it up. Like, how much baby oil would you need to fill up a kiddie pool? So he literally had a kiddie pool in a hotel room, filled it up with baby oil and Astroglide. I think Astroglide is like a sexual, like a lubricant, and made her get into the baby oil with her heels on and her lingerie on. And I'm just like, what? This guy got it. And again, his fetishes are not on trial. What he likes to do in the bedroom is not illegal to like baby oil. It's not illegal to make your girlfriend get in the kitty tub full with baby oil. I mean, but I'm just thinking about how many bottles of baby oil you really had to empty. Like, a kiddie pool doesn't seem like it's that big, but when you really think about it, that's a lot of damn baby oil. So anyway, let me get back to the point is, that's not against the law. I really feel like this is a trial of humiliation. Like, people are not liking him because he assaulted Cassie and that video came out. I'm not defending P. Diddy, and I don't want anybody to think that, because I'm not defending P. Diddy at all. But what I'm saying is, it just seems like this is a whole operation to take the man down. I mean, he probably deserves to be taken down, but think about how strategic everything has been. First, they raided his house. No, first Cassie came out, right? Remember, I covered this in a previous live stream. Cassie came out with a civil lawsuit against P. Diddy days before the law changed. There was a law put in place in the Southern District of New York that was getting ready to be passed, that after a certain amount of time, there was basically a statute of limitations of when you could report that type of crime. She literally sued him a couple days before the law passed. Coincidence? Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, so they ended up settling. Months down the line, then all three of his homes get raided. They find him videos, whatever. Then witness after witness after witness after witness coming forward, accusing him of doing this and that. Then they're trying to pull other black men into the P. Diddy case. They even tried to accuse Drewski of having something to do with assaulting people with P. Diddy. You know, Jay-Z they tried to drag him into it until Jay-Z threatened Tony Busby. Like, this is some bullshit. Okay. So now they done left Jay-Z alone. But the point is, it just seems like this is all like a setup almost. It's almost like this is deja vu. Didn't this same shit happen with R. Kelly? I'm not taking up for R. Kelly either, but it seems like there is a whole process. Like, it's a process when they want to take a black man down. When they want to take a black celebrity down, there is like a list of things that you have to do in order to take them down. First, we're going to let some, unpleasant footage out of this person. We're going to let some people come forward. Then we're going to raid his home. Then we're going to confiscate videos or whatever out of his home. Then people are going to start coming forward. Then the civil lawsuits are going to come. And then boom, next thing you know, the nigga on trial. Then I didn't think in my wildest dreams that R. Kelly would end up in prison. I really didn't. I didn't. So, and in my wildest dreams, I really don't see P. Diddy going to prison for this. I don't. And I'm not saying it because I think that he's a good guy, because obviously he's not. What I'm saying is, where is the evidence? Where's the evidence? Where is it? It seems to be, and I don't think this can be argued, it seems to be a burden of proof. It's not against the law to dip your girlfriend in baby oil. It's not against the law to have three-day, no sleep, drug-induced freak offs. They're going to have to prove that P. Diddy made them do this shit. And I'm waiting on somebody to prove it. Now, if P. Diddy is convicted of these crimes without any evidence, these people were forced to do this. Now, the video, they're replaying the video in court of Cassie being beat up in that hotel, and they're using that to show, see, look, he did have power over her. He was using his physical strength. He was abusing her emotionally and psychologically and physically to force her to do these things that she's saying that she did. But you have to prove that. You have to prove that Cassie was not into that shit during that time. That's all I'm saying. I mean, you got to prove that she wasn't enjoying herself. I just don't see convicting somebody without that evidence.
This was the first of several sexual encounters between the three in which Combs directed the action.
You changed me talking about they need a new sketch artist. You know what? I made one of their sketches my thumbnail because I thought it was kind of funny, because that shit look shit like P. Diddy. But it's so horrible. The drawing is so horrible that it kind of is like a trademark for the trial. Like, they just got a bad sketch artist. I think I'm going to use one of their sketches for all of my thumbnails.
He said he was paid between $700,000 and $600,000 each time, and witnessed violence that he says came out of nowhere. One time, he says, quote, Mr. Combs walked over to Cassie, grabbed her by the hair, dragged her to the bedroom, and what I could hear sounded like him slapping her. This afternoon, the Combs.
Okay, so let's go back to that, y'all. This is a whole bunch of circumstantial, he say, she say type shit. You know what I'm saying? And I know somebody I know I'm gonna get trolls in the comments after I end this live stream. I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, Upper can you listen to Upper? She's defending an abuser." You know how those people do. No, I'm not defending him. I'm agreeing that he is a bad guy, but I'm just playing devil's advocate, and that's what I'm gonna do during this series. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Can it be proven? You saying that you heard what sounded like she was being slapped in the other room. Why is that? I would have said immediately, objection, immediately. What do you mean what you heard what it sound like? Did you see it though? Like, come on, man. Come on, man. Hold on. I'm gonna play that back. I just want to play that back. He said Mr. Combs walked over to Cassie. This is what the guy that thought that he was going to be doing a strip tease or whatever for Cassie and P. Diddy. He said that Mr. Combs walked over to Cassie, grabbed her by the hair, and started dragging her to the bedroom. I could hear what sounded like slapping her, which it probably was. Especially if he grabbed her by the hair and drug her, I'm sure he was assaulting her because that's violent in itself to grab someone by the hair. So I believe him. I believe that it probably was slapping. But can you prove it? I want to see how this is going to go. I want to see. And not only so, the purpose. See, this is what they're trying to do. The guy that was supposed to be doing the strip tease or whatever. The purpose of him saying that is to say he assaulted her during a sexual encounter or during an encounter where there was going to be some sort of sexual activities going on. This shows that he's being violent with her during these times, showing that she is intimidated by him due to his physical abuse. So they're trying to tie it all in, is what they're doing here.
Him slapping her. This afternoon, the Combs family, including 6 of his 7 kids, walked back into federal court in Lower Manhattan. Once inside courtroom 26A, they sat roughly 12 feet from Sean Combs on day 1 of his.
Queen Sash said it's day 3. Give it time for evidence. They are giving testimonies now. When the feds are involved, is definitely evidence. Well, that's what I just said earlier. Okay. So earlier I said, if you remember, like before, towards the beginning when, everything was going down, they raided 3 of his homes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they raided 1 in California. They raided 1 in New York. And I believe it was another home that he had in Florida. Now I can remember reports being made that several items were obtained during those raids, including video footage, a bunch of baby oil, lubricant, pictures, laptops, electronic flash drives, video cameras, VHS tapes, all type of shit. So we don't know what they're going to put into evidence. I am excited to see what they are going to show. I really, really am. But what I've named this series thus far is Burden of Proof. And the reason, again, that I named this series Burden of Proof is because I believe that is what P. Diddy's defense will be. P. Diddy's defense is going to be that yes, he is an abuser. Yes, he's a bad man. Yes, he's a monster. Yes, he beat Cassie. And I'm sure he beat other women. And I'm sure he's a narcissist. And I'm sure he used his power, his influence, and everything else to control people around him. But do you all have evidence that he is guilty of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution? Those are the 3 charges that he has been charged with. And if convicted, he could spend life in prison. This is serious. This man could spend the rest of his natural life in prison. So there cannot even be a little bit of a doubt that he is guilty. Anytime a guilty verdict is entered, there has to be proof beyond a reasonable doubt that he did it. Meaning, you can't even enter in a single drop of doubt to say, well, maybe it could have been this, or maybe it could have been that. It has to be black and white. He did it. Boom. That's how you're found guilty. There is evidence and proof beyond a reasonable doubt. That is the law. So I'm going to wait until they can show that P. Diddy committed sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution, and racketeering. I'm not watching the trial to see if he is a woman abuser or if how bad he beat his other girlfriends. I'm watching the trial to see if they can prove that he did what he's being charged with. See? So I'm going to continue to watch, and maybe they can. But, time will tell.
This federal racketeering and sex trafficking trial.
He's definitely participating in his defense, I think, as you would expect most defendants to. Nervous is something I would describe, but he seems somewhat hopeful seeing the people in the courtroom.
The jury is now set, 8 men and 4 women. First to take the witness stand, Israel Flores. In 2016, the LAPD officer was working security at a hotel when this now infamous altercation unfolded. Flores testified when he got off the elevator on the 6th floor, he saw Combs in a towel that he gave him a, quote, devilish stare, adding Combs' former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, looked, quote, scared. Flores said when Ventura mentioned she wanted to
be honest with you, I think the nigga should have been locked up for that. Just that right there. He should have, I don't care how long ago it happened. The way that he drug her around that hotel like that and kicked her while she was on the ground, he need to been locked up for that shit. He needed fucking Cassie, I wouldn't have sued him civilly. I'd have sued him criminally. You was looking for, I hate to say it because I know it's gonna be some people that don't agree with me. You looking for a motherfucking payday. You was looking for a payday. Okay? His ass should have went to jail for that. Because this right here, y'all, hold on, let me show y'all. Where am I at? This 310. Hold on, let me show y'all. This right here is what you call proof beyond.
And today we heard from the LAPD officer who came.
This is what you call proof beyond a reasonable doubt. That's proof beyond a reasonable doubt. There is proof beyond a reasonable doubt that he beat her up and was physically abusive. There is no doubt. Okay, that is what evidence looks like that will get you convicted. That's what it looked like. That's what I want to see in this racketeering stuff. I want to see that type of evidence.
Ventura mentioned she wanted to get her phone, bag, and leave. Combs told her she was not going to leave. The officer followed the pair back to a room, and while outside in the doorway, he said he noticed a, quote, male, black, wearing dark clothing, sitting at the corner of the bed. Combs listened stoically. Flores told jurors after Ventura left, Combs called to him, quote, he was pretty much holding a sack of money, and he said, here, take care of this for me. Don't tell anyone.
For the government, they laid it out in their opening statement. This is part of a freak-off. This was Sean Combs using force to manipulate her back into a freak-off, to silence her, to, as they say, allegedly bribe individuals to make sure that video didn't see the light of day. But the defense is taking a very different look at this, and even the entire case.
In opening statements, the defense called the video, quote, dehumanizing, adding it was a fight over a phone. The team acknowledged Combs does have a temper, but pointed out, quote, there was domestic violence, but that is not sex trafficking. As for the so-called freak-offs or Wild King nights, allegedly drug-filled sex parties that went on for days, Combs' attorneys downplayed them, saying their client led a swingers lifestyle, that the gatherings were consensual threesomes.
That's what the defense is going to say. The defense is going to say, y'all, if I'm wrong, I will come back at the end of this trial, once the trial is over and we know what's going to happen with P. Diddy, I will come back and say that I was wrong. I don't think that he's going to be found guilty. He may be found guilty of something, but I don't think he's going to be found guilty of everything. I just don't see it. Because I forget who it was. I think Queen Sag said earlier, now the feds were involved. They obtained a lot of evidence. We still have to wait to see what the FBI obtained. We still have to wait to see that. So I'm not going to speak too soon. It's possible that they have something that could put the nail in the coffin. We just haven't seen it yet. Maybe they're holding that in the chamber for later. I don't know. But as of right now, because all I can do is speak on what's happening right now. As of right now, if this is going to be what the prosecution is going to use to try to get a conviction, it's not going to work. I don't see it working. You know, I don't. I think any attorney worth a bag of Skittles would be able to get to say, this is not a domestic violence trial. And I don't think any juror would be able to deny that or disagree with that because it's not a domestic violence trial. We want the prosecution to focus on proving sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation for prostitution. We want the prostitution. We want the prosecution to prove those, to talk about those three things. And so far, all we're hearing about is domestic violence. So we'll see. Latay Eminem said exactly upper no amount of money would equal the physical abuse that she received, but a dollar amount was agreed upon. Period. Now, I didn't agree with that. I felt like after I saw that video, I felt like he should have been charged criminally for what he did to her. That was monstrous what he did. Monstrous. I know, I'm not trying to come off green or anything, but I've never seen no man do nothing like that to a woman. Kicking her while she's on the ground, dragging her by the hair and the hood, all of that. I can see her still being traumatized by that. So there is no amount of money, in my opinion, that she should have settled for. Period. He should have been charged criminally for that if he could have been. And I think he could have been. So yeah, I don't understand why she would even settle for anything, to be honest, if it's not about the money. Marie said it's going to be more. Gina has to take the stand, and the assistant he fired and had his boys SA her. It's a lot. I heard Lori Ann Gibson will be taking the stand. Is Lori Ann Gibson, is that the girl that she was a model or something, and they ended up putting her inside of a cab? Because there was one young lady that came forward and said that P. Diddy assaulted her, and during the assault, there was also a very popular, famous entertainer there as well watching. After that, he took her and threw her into a cab. He had drugged her, according to her, and sexually assaulted her, called a cab, and threw her in it. So is that who that is? I have to look it up. Brandy said Cassie stayed with Diddy after the video. Cassie wanted fame, money, and the lifestyle at any cost. Diddy shouldn't have beat her. I agree with that to a certain extent. And the reason I say that is because I try to be careful with saying what people's intentions are if I'm not exactly sure. It could be possible because people stay in relationships that are abusive because they're afraid to leave, or because the person has psychologically beat them down to the point where they don't believe that they can survive without that person. They don't think they can survive emotionally, financially. They just don't think they will be able to make it because the person makes them feel like they're nothing. So she could have been psychologically abused and traumatized as far as what made her stay with him. And I think that speaks on what happened with the R. Kelly situation, because a lot of people asked, well, how were you holding these people hostage? They're not in chains. They're not locked up, are they? P. Diddy didn't necessarily restrain anybody, tie them up with a rope or whatever the case is, but he has the power and influence to intimidate a person. So I could see him intimidating her, and I could see him intimidating other people to do what he wants them to do. But is it against the law to control your mind? Is it against the law to psychologically abuse you? Is it against the law to use my power and control to manipulate you? Is it racketeering to manipulate you and to mentally abuse you? Is that against the law? Is that what we're on trial for? So that's my take on it, and that's how I see it. Okay. So I agree. I definitely agree with that to a certain extent. Thank you, Madus, for that super chat. She says there's a lot Diddy should be prosecuted for. A lot. But this ain't it. And how's there a RICO with one defendant? Remember, they was trying to drag other people into it. Remember, they tried to say Drewski would. Remember, they tried to accuse Drewski of doing something. They tried to get Jay-Z involved. They were saying all of these other celebrities are somehow were connected. That video is crazy. They're leading up more victims coming forward. Yeah, I believe it's gonna be a whole lot going on. Hey Mother Love. Cassie didn't charge him for the abuse, so she said, I'm gonna get this bag and bring your ass down. So that's basically what Cassie did. She said, I'm gonna get this bag, and then not only that, I'm gonna testify against your ass when you do get a criminal charge. So I guess that's what it is. Serenity Speaks said, I believe P. Diddy got a lot of his lifestyle from his mom. He respects her a lot. Oh yeah, I saw his mom getting out of a van coming into court. He's gonna be acquitted of all the charges. That is my prediction. Now, if I'm wrong, I'll come back and be like, okay, y'all, I'm back. I was wrong. But the way it's going now, and again, it's very early in the case. We don't know what else is going to be presented. But if it's going to keep on going like this, I don't see him being charged, convicted of anything. Thank you, Lakeith Myers, for that $9.99 super chat. She said, great live upper, and yes, you are the greatest debater. Thank you. I appreciate that. Malish said, she didn't want him to go to jail. She's testifying again. She didn't want him to go to jail. She's testifying again today. Ooh, this is going to get juicy. Yeah, it is hard to watch you change me. It is. Serenity said, if he does get off, his life will never be the same. He might as well go live on go live on a deserted island. Period. He's going to go into hiding. He's going to have to. His whole reputation is down the drain. After what he did to Cassie, all of this weird stuff coming out that he had her dip into a kiddie pool with baby oil. Not only that, but Cassie is also saying that he would have her basically, have intercourse with other men, and then after they finish and I'm sorry for the vulgarity of it, but I have to report what she said. After they finished, I'll just say that she would take it and rub it on his nipples, and he would request that she do that. The attorney asked her, did you like doing that? And she said no. I mean, I was just like, what is going on? I'm like, what is going on? This is so weird. So I'm not trying to make a joke out of it, y'all, but it is weird. Like she's like, so he made me rub the ejaculation on him. And so then the attorney was like, where, like this is like public. Then you're trying to humiliate the man at this point. Because then after she said that, the attorney said, well, where on his body did he want you to rub it? And she goes, on his nipples. Like, come on, y'all. This is crazy. This is like a Saturday Night Live episode. Is this for real? Why are we talking? I'd have been like, objection, relevance. What are we doing here? I'm sorry, because some of that stuff I'd have been like, what's going? I'm sorry, I'd have got hood in the courtroom if I was the P. Diddy. If you ever see this, if you have any other problem moving forward, I'm not an attorney, but you need to have me come speak for you, because your attorneys, I don't know why they didn't object to that shit. What the fuck does that? Is that weird? Hell yeah, that's weird as hell. But what do P. Diddy liking nut? I don't even want to say it. Liking that stuff rubbed on his nips have to do with sex trafficking and racketeering? I'm not understanding. And then for the attorney to say, did you like it? Did you want to do it? And she was like, no. Okay, but why did you do it? You have to be able to prove that he made you do that. You know what I'm saying? So I just y'all, I just don't understand. Okay, so let's finish out this video. Then I want to show y'all a little bit of the defense team, okay?
And we do expect to see Cassie Ventura on the stand. It'll be the first time she comes face-to-face with Combs since 2018, when Ventura attended Kim Porter's.
All right, then hold on. Then I'm not trying to drag Cassie, y'all. I promise you I'm not, but I got to say what I really think. Cassie definitely, in my opinion, I'm not gonna say definitely, everything is alleged, okay? But in my opinion, Cassie definitely was with him because she thought that it would help her career. Because she's not talented. I mean, she's beautiful, but she has no talent. She can't sing. She can't dance. She got the personality of an empty soda can. I mean, she just nothing special going on there. I've been waiting so long. I'm here to answer your call. I gotta come here. I'm here to see if it's true. Anybody gonna tell you now? Anybody could do that. Look, I sounded better than her. Anybody could do that. Hold on. It don't take no talent. I've been waiting so long. I'm here to answer your call. Who, girl, just no talent, no talent. So you was with the man because you knew you didn't have no damn talent. And if you got away from him, you didn't stand a chance in the damn music industry. So she did what she had to do. You know, damn. The price of fame. Okay, the price of fame is something else. You want to be famous so bad that you rub nut on somebody's nipples, baby. That's where I draw the fucking line. That's where I draw the line. I'm cool. I'll be broke before I do that. I'll be broke before I do that. I go somewhere live a regular ass life before I ever rub nut on anybody's nipple. I wouldn't give a damn if you was Barack Obama. I'm not rubbing nut on your nipples, bro. Like, where do you draw the line? Like, what level of control are we at here? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, yeah, he did use his power and control and he did abuse her. But I also feel like that to a certain extent, she definitely was afraid of him. But I also feel like to a certain extent, she definitely knew being with him she definitely thought that being with him would somehow benefit her career. Definitely.
Funeral. Porter was Combs's ex and the mother of 4 of their children. Testimony, we understand, has wrapped here on day 1. That's what's happening inside the courthouse. Outside the courthouse, Mike, we just saw some action.
Kim, just about 10 minutes ago, we saw Cassie Ventura's husband walk right by our camera position here. Mm-hmm. I asked him, how did he think it went in there today? He did not respond, very stoic, and he got into a vehicle.
Yeah, he's stoic. He probably, like, first of all, imagine this, right? Imagine you married, right? Because Cassie's married and she's pregnant. She like 8 months pregnant or something, right? Imagine your husband got to go to the courtroom with you and hear that you used to rub nut on P. Diddy's nipples back in the day. I mean, that's embarrassing as fuck. He probably like, well, damn, bitch, you a nun in the bedroom with me. You don't get freaky like that with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, you lost all your inhibitions with P. Diddy. And shit, when it's me and you lay there like a fucking dead fish. So he probably pissed off. That's why the newscaster was like, he had a very stoic expression. The nigga was mad. He didn't know he married a freaky bitch. He said, that bitch freaky. I didn't know she was like that. I thought she was a God-fearing woman. Then he get to court and hear about all this freaky shit she did. I'd have been embarrassed to be saying all that shit in front of my husband. I swear to God, I would.
And was led away. But you have to think about what's going through the minds of not only her family as she is set to take the stand next, but also Diddy's family. We know his 6 kids.
Nah, Brandy. I don't know, Brandy. How did that? I don't know if he know everything. I'm sure he didn't know that part about the nipples. That's not something you just mention in random conversation.
Kids were,
unless she talked to him about it before they got to court, just to warn him, like, it's gonna be some freaky shit coming out.
In the gallery today, yes, along with his mom, he blew kisses to them, and at one point he asked for more water. Certainly a heavy day here on day 1. Kimberly Richardson, thanks so much.
Sure.
We mentioned the jury, 12 people, 8 men, 4 women, a mixture of people from Westchester County, the Bronx, and of course Manhattan. And coming up at the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk about.
I think it's important to know that the jurors are also very diverse. Again, like he said, I think he said 8 men, 4 women. 8 men, 4 women? Yeah. 8 men and 4 women. Another thing is they're not in their 30s. They're not in their early to late 30s, where basically my generation, where we grew up listening to P. Diddy. We remember Puff Daddy. You see what I'm saying? They're not fans of his. So you need to find a jury that's non-biased. And not only that, but they found like I think it was very strategic that some of the jurors work in like social services, some of them work for nonprofits, some of them work for women's rights advocacies programs. Then you have people that are employed in a very analytical fields. You have a scientist on the panel. You have a professor on the not the panel on the jury. You have a professor on the jury. So you have a wide range of personalities, a wide range of expertise, which will allow them to come at this thing from every angle. You need the analytical brain because they have a scientist on the jury. You need a person that, because to be a scientist, you have to be pretty analytical. You have to be that person to be able to put your feelings to the side and look at the facts. Okay, so I think that they have a nice array of different types of people for the jury. I think they did a good job picking a jury. Thank you, Madus, for that super chat. Upper, a lot of people may not agree, but I think the husband knows way more than he thinks. It's possible. It's possible. Malik said, they let go of his fans who was trying to be on the jury. One said, yeah, I know Diddy. We cool. First of all, if you trying to be a part of the jury for the P.Diddy trial, the last thing you say is, yeah, I know him. We cool. Like, what the hell? Yeah, I'm glad they dismissed him. Listen, so now I'm gonna go ahead and pull this down because I want to go over P. Diddy's defense team just to show who will be defending him and who they are. Okay, so it says here, Sean P. Diddy Combs' defense team consists of a number of high-profile attorneys. Mark Agnifilo is the lead attorney. And Teeny Gregorgos. I feel like I recognize that last name from somewhere. Daughter of celebrity lawyer Mark Geragos is also a key member. The team also includes Brian Steele, who previously represented Young Thug. Other notable additions include Xavier Donaldson and Nicole Westmoreland. Here's a little more detailed look of the key members. So Mark Agnifilo, a seasoned criminal defense attorney with a history of defending high-profile cases. He's also married to Karen Friedman Agnifilo, a former prosecutor, and also works on the case. Teeny Geragos, a founding partner of the Agnifilo in LLP. She has extensive expertise defending sexual misconduct allegations. Then you have Brian Steele, who's known for representing Young Thug. And then you have Xavier Donaldson, who is a seasoned defense attorney based in New York City. He joined the defense team recently. And then you have Nicole Westmoreland. She's a Black woman attorney who runs her own firm and recently joined the defense team. So seems here he has 5 attorneys, 2 women, 3 men. So let me see. Can I look up? Where is it? Let me see. Can I see a little bit more about her? Teeny is particularly experienced in investigating allegations of sexual misconduct, which involves complex legal issues and emotionally charged situations. Teeny has represented numerous individuals accused of sexual assault, sexual harassment, and other types of sexual misconduct. Teeny has also regularly represented victims of sexual assault and violence, helping them navigate the difficulties of reporting to the police and cooperating with law enforcement investigations. Finally, Teeny has led several internal investigations, including in the construction and healthcare industries. Okay, so that's one of his attorneys. Let me put this down. Okay, the young lady was sexually assaulted. Upper Shakassi had testified since she took the money. To be honest with you, I think that they would have been crazy to not have her on the stand as the prosecution, because the prosecution's job is to make him look as bad as possible. So yeah, and yeah, Cassie took the money, but Cassie wants to take him down too. So yeah, I'm not surprised that she took the stand at all. Hey, upper chat. Hey, what's going on, Impeccable Shoe Game? So yeah, guys. She said dream team. I guess that's supposed to be the dream team. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Okay, so this is episode 1, P. Diddy, Burden of Proof. Thank you for joining me today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the live. Make sure that you hit the like button on your way out. Make sure that you are subscribed to my channel if you haven't done that yet. And also make sure that you hit the notification bell so that you can be notified of the next time that I live stream or the next time that I post content. All right, y'all. Peace.